and Brent, talking to each other. Doug and Brent, what will they talk about today? Doug and Brent are talking to some pimples. Doug and Brent will talk to their friends, and Doug and Brent talking on the Poundcast.
Welcome to the Poundcast. Here we are.
Oh, wow.
At the ATC Studios for the second time, and we've been here.
It's kind of crazy that we did one episode in the studio here, and then the pandemic happened, and now we're back, even though there's a big spike happening.
We're here with our guest, Matt Price. Welcome to the Poundcast, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, why is Matt here, and who is Matt? We're going to find that out.
But first? No, I don't know. We'll do the intro later, I guess, right?
Well, we just do the intro now.
Let's do it now. But
yeah,
first?
Sure. But first, let's talk about our cute little sponsor, LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. You can use the code word Poundcast at LouisvilleVeganFoods.com for how many % off, Brent?
20.
20 huge % off, Matt. Can you believe that? Those numbers?
I'm blown away.
Yeah. So the Louisville Vegan Foods, what do, Brent? They make Louisville vegan jerky.
Oh, they make jerky.
They make jerky.
And it is meatless. And guess what? It's bagged in the United States, and it has a shelf life of 9 months. What more could you want?
It's about as tasty as it gets, too.
And they have various flavors, such as
Carolina Smoky Barbecue.
You got it.
That's my favorite. That's the only flavor we really need to mention.
Well, you don't like that dill?
Buffalo dill?
Yeah.
It makes my mouth water.
There it goes. There it is. I see it. I see you drooling for it.
So basically, here's what we're talking about. LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. Use the code word Poundcast. And that's how you can support us. Another way you can support us is, Brent?
Well, we have a Patreon account called patreon.com/Poundcast. And you can get bonus content there. We do a thing called After Dark, which is after we record the episode, we do another half hour to sometimes an hour and a half even. And the last one, I think, was an hour and a half. And you get a whole bonus. It's another episode, basically.
You can't go wrong.
If you want double the episodes each week, check out patreon.com/Poundcast.
It's easy. It's kind of a no-brainer.
And
no-brainer. Sometimes I want to look in the camera. It's probably
yeah. I'll look in the camera. Look, check me out. First of all, look at me. I'm in the red room right now. I'm in the lodge. What is it? The Black Lodge. I'm in Twin Peaks. People probably made the Twin Peaks joke already here, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
No one's thought of that. You're definitely the first one to say that.
Look, let me go on record by saying I'm the first to make this observation that I am in the red room.
Welcome to the red room.
Welcome to the red room. Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with patreon.com/Poundcast, and you can get bonus content there, and it's a lot of fun. You're going to love it. And video, too. You get video of the After Dark. But if you also want video just of the regular episode, you go to youtube.com/ThePoundcast.
Am I allowed to ask a question about the vegan jerky?
By all means.
Yeah, I want to say one thing real quick, Brent. Your mic is popping, maybe because you don't have a thing on there.
Oh, okay. Let me let me stand back.
Let me lay back. As a heads up. Okay,
lay back.
Hit us with the question.
Does the jerky try to copy any specific kind of meat, or is it just like vegan jerky? It's just like supposed to be just meat in general.
Great question. It doesn't really. It kind of like. To me, it seems like beef jerky, your classic beef jerky. But Brent, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I think Stanley would say that. I think he would say that it's not really trying to imitate a specific meat, and that it is its own meat, its own meatless meat.
Gotcha.
I think, maybe, I don't know.
I was trying to picture it as you talked about it, and I just couldn't.
Well, it's. I wonder, do you feel what meat do you feel it's closest to, Doug?
Ostrich.
Ostrich. Because there's some shitty jerkies out there. Like, no offense to anybody, but I've had salmon jerky before. It wasn't really.
Oh, you don't like that?
No, it wasn't for me.
Dude, have you ever tried watermelon jerky?
No, but I've seen that it exists.
I had that.
Was it good?
It didn't really quite work for me.
No, it's a pass. It's a hard pass.
Is it savory or sweet?
It was.
I kind of don't remember. But like strange.
The problem with it for me is that it was stuck to the paper or something like that, and I got all this paper stuck to it. And I was trying to not eat the paper, but I was eating papers.
Interesting. It's the watermelon sticks.
So anyways,
well,
there
let's
you go.
get into it
Let's
here.
get into it, huh?
Now, Matt, I met you because I did a rap on Instagram, and I mentioned CCS pants, which I'm wearing now, which are my favorite pants.
Nice plug.
Not even it's not. I'm not sponsored by CCS, correct?
I mean, you kind of are.
I'm okay. I'm in the flow.
Whenever
we could
you
talk
want
about
pants.
that. We could talk about the different levels of being sponsored. But you said, "Hey, do you want some CCS pants?" And I was like, "Sure." And then that's how we met. And then we ended up skateboarding together. No, then you said, "Do you want to do a commercial for CCS pants?" And that's coming out soon.
Yeah, that'll
And
come
if
out
you
in a few
and then
weeks.
I will put that commercial on the Patreon for everybody to see. It might already be up there. But anyway, so someone on our Discord, we do have a Discord as well, said we should get in the guest suggestions. They said you got to get Matt Price on there. He's funny and he knows about skateboarding stuff, and you're a photographer, and people might like to hear about your situation.
my funny skateboarding photography.
Career. Yeah, how did this happen? Wait, so what do you do?
What? So
I hate that question because if people ask me that, it's like embarrassing. It's like, well, I'm super awesome and I do this and I do that.
Yeah, let me list
Just
it all.
talk about bad things you do so you don't sound like you're tooting yourself up too hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toot yourself down, but
Yeah,
talk
toot
about
yourself
what you do.
down.
So I snore pretty bad,
Okay.
and then
There you go.
I also snooze my alarm like 5 times every morning, and my wife gets really bummed on that. And then I probably like eat something, drink coffee, go to the bathroom. I do like an hour's worth of stuff before I take my dog on his first walk, which is like really shitty. I've never admitted that out loud to anyone. So
Do what?
like I do all my morning rituals before I take my dog out.
You're a priority.
I am, and I feel like that's kind of shitty. Like that's just how I am. But I think that like there's dog owners who wake up and like throw slippers on and take their dog out because that like he doesn't care. I don't think. I think if he cared, but
Well, maybe he's on your schedule, and by now he's like, I walk when my master...
When master is ready.
When master's ready.
When
Yeah.
master is groomed.
exactly.
When master's groomed. Yeah.
I tell him, I say I potty before you potty, but then shortly after. But
Master first.
yeah, so those are some of the more negative things about me.
Is it okay to call your dog a slave?
No, it's not
okay.
Doug.
Well, wait a
I'm just
second.
asking. I'm just asking. It's just a question.
Well, think about it.
What?
If a dog owner is the master of the dog,
Maybe we shouldn't call the master a master.
Yeah, I think all those terms probably are. We're gonna move on, maybe. But owner doesn't sound good either. So I guess just
Best friend.
friend.
How about this? I do all my stuff before I take my best friend for a walk.
Yeah, supervisor. I feel like I'm
Supervisor.
his supervisor, probably, right? Or his
the
manager.
dog is an employee.
Maybe manager. I do
Does
manage.
the dog work for you?
Not as well as I'd like. I think he.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's a Shih Tzu Schnauzer mix. He looks like an Ewok. We both have underbites. We have matching underbites.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Now, you were talking about your underbite earlier.
Yeah, well, because I saw myself.
Is it okay to eat? Like you can eat food normally?
No, you know what's funny?
I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
No, there's actually I have a real issue.
Really?
If I eat a long sandwich, like a sub, like a foot long sub,
You eat the bottom half first?
halfway through I have to flip it over.
No
I
way.
swear to God, because I take
Okay,
about
this is interesting. This is funny.
I take about like 1/8 of an inch maybe per bite, more from the bottom than the top. And I've had, like, if I haven't, it's rare that you get a foot long sub without a cut in the middle, but
Right.
I've eaten one and literally halfway through, like the meat kind of starts flopping out and hanging a little
No
bit.
kidding.
Yeah, it's a gnarly underbite. Like I can get my whole.
Let's
my
get
tongue.
that. Look at
You
that
wanna get
camera. Look at this camera right here. Look
You
at
can
that.
see it, right?
He's not pushing his. Just so people
No.
know, he is not pushing his teeth out
No,
like that.
this is how I'm built.
It's actually how it looks.
But yeah. So I have, and I can't bite my nails. There's no connection here.
Well, you wouldn't want to do that. You
no,
get worms.
But like, is that what happens? You get
Yes,
worms.
You get worms.
How does that even work? From the dirt?
What
Yeah,
worms?
Yeah, worms that there's stuff in your nails that will create worms inside your body. I've heard about it.
Wow. Well, good.
Well, I'm probably seething with worms because
You bite your nails.
I pretty much bite them off all the
Oh,
time.
you can't do that.
Sometimes I trim them, but
It's not good for you.
Yeah.
if I trim them, I got to be out in nature. I got to be so far away. You can't do them indoors at all.
they fly everywhere.
Yeah, there's no way to contain
gotta
them.
have the
And how come
technique.
how come no one invented a proper, you know how there's a Flowbee that
Clippings
sucks your
catcher.
hair out?
Right.
Why don't they make a
Ooh.
Flowbee nail edition.
Okay.
You should. So I have a thing actually.
You know?
I got these. Are you familiar with Gudetama? Japanese animated character. He's an egg yolk who is
That little yolk guy.
lazy.
I
and
think I went to
cute.
a whole store of that guy.
People are obsessed. So
Yeah.
we have a pair of Gudetama nail clippers that have this like yellow plastic guard on them that keeps. I don't know if that's what it's for. It just wraps around the metal, but it keeps your nail from flying off when it clips.
See, I've had one of those that has the full, but I feel like it still doesn't quite get it. Maybe the egg one got. Maybe they figured it out.
I'll
'cause
loan
it's
it to you if you want. I don't know. You can borrow it.
You feel
or-
comfortable with that?
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's very
We're all
easy.
sanitizing a lot now. You probably all right.
It's very easy, guys. You just get a trash bag of sorts.
No, that thing
And
goes flying. It's a random.
No, you have to just put your hands near there, and it will go in there generally. And if
I just
not-
prefer to do it in nature. That's all.
Well,
I'm saying.
hey, fair enough.
I mean, if you have a yard, you can. I do it on my balcony. Like I do the big part sometimes. Like get the big chunk of each nail off and put them in the trash. Then go on the balcony to do the little nips and just kind of do it over the edge and just.
You know, sometimes though I get too close down and then it feels all raw down there, and my hands don't feel right.
Well,
I
you can't clip too close.
can't clip too close.
Oh, I love clipping too close.
You got to just do the right thing, and you got to do it every week.
You know the
on
best way to
Sundays.
do it though, which is the way I try to live my life. I try to live my nails down.
Yeah,
You're just out there using your hands, and you just live them down.
like climbing and stuff and putting them
Climbing,
in bark.
operating tools, grabbing vice grips, doing grip tape,
Scratching,
Yeah,
you know?
grabs. Yeah. Trying
Grabbing
kickflip indies
crabs.
and bailing them. You're just following
doing
your nails.
kickflips,
scratching chalkboards. You know, for doing when you do Foley effects for
yeah,
productions.
melancholy airs.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, people might not know CCS is a skateboard like catalog company, right?
Yeah.
California
yeah.
Cheapskates.
Oh yeah, we didn't. So we talked about the bad things I do, but I can quickly go over.
No, I'm still into the
normal
bad things we do. I just wanted to. I didn't want to leave people hanging. I didn't
Yeah.
want to forget that.
Someone's out there literally, they're biting their nails and wondering what CCS is, and it's,
So you can't bite your nails.
they're
Do
getting.
you sometimes
worms.
feel like, man, I wish I could just get an attachment so you can like.
No, because I'm glad. It's one of there's enough of bad things I do in my life that I'm glad that I can't do that. But yeah, there's.
You know,
That's a blessing.
my
It's a bad
cousin
habit.
has for her whole life been. You ever see those people whose nails are down to the nub because they're chewing them like nonstop?
Mm-hmm.
She's got those nails. I'm wondering. She's tried everything. She put poo on her nails. I'm just kidding. But I think she put like some bad tasting,
Like castor oil.
you know,
type,
some kind
like,
of something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
She's
they
tried
do
that.
that.
She's tried it all. Hypnosis. Maybe she just needs to get an underbite,
Yeah.
like braces to make your teeth be wrong.
rubber
Or
bands.
just have her jaw reconstructed.
You can get
Yeah.
rubber bands that'll pull your shit out, kind of. Because when I was little, they were trying to fix mine with rubber bands because they didn't know the real problem. They thought this was like just sticking out weird. So they'd do rubber bands, and after 6 weeks, I'd have a regular bite again, and then they'd take them off, and then it would go back to an underbite in like a week and a half.
Huh.
So they're just
I had-
fighting nature.
I had braces, and you know, what if? I'm just thinking. People seem to like straight teeth and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What if in the future it gets trendy to be like having like British teeth? You know what I mean?
I mean, I have a good friend. My friend Blake loves crooked teeth. That's like a thing he's into. Like when people have weird crooked teeth.
Like on someone he's attracted to, or just like anybody.
Just anybody. He thinks it's like an endearing quality. Like he's mentioned before. He's like, I like how your front tooth overlaps your other front tooth. a little."
sometimes
I mean,
it can
I
look
do
good.
kind of like it. I
Yeah.
do kind of like one little thing, but like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's like
Yeah.
it
Well,
looks
yeah.
like pickup sticks.
But Patricia
You know what I mean?
Arquette has attractive teeth, and they're not. You know, there's a unique quality to
There
her
are
teeth.
there are ways to have crooked teeth that probably look. I mean, but I think like anything, just unique is always fun. So if it's unique and it's not like, it should still be functional. I would hope. I don't want the teeth to.
I mean,
not work.
sometimes a snaggle tooth here or there that look kind of sexy.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what
sexy.
happened a few weeks ago? I was eating granola, and I think there was a hard bit of something that got in there, like a seed or something, and I bit wrong, and my whole jaw, like my whole bite was off. It was like the whole thing shifted. It was like an earthquake happened in my mouth.
Did it go back eventually?
It went back. I just had to chew through it.
Interesting.
But you know what I mean? It felt like my bite was off.
Yeah.
It's
Weird.
a scary situation. I was like,
What
"Kung." It was like a loud click. I was like, "Cluck." I was like, what happened? Then my tooth break. I was checking my teeth, and I was like, my bite was off. I'm like, oh man.
It's
Weird.
disturbing, man.
And then you know what? The granola tasted so good. I was like, fuck it. I just love this granola so much. I'm gonna keep eating it at my own risk,
I get those. You get those.
at my own
nightmares.
peril.
get those nightmares where your teeth get messed up?
I have that nightmare all the time.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Is that a thing? Like
Yeah.
a normal thing that people
I have a
in
common
skateboarding?
nightmare where my teeth doesn't it bites. I can't get the jaw to line up, and then they start grinding and like crumbling.
I
So
get it.
My life is your nightmare, is what you're saying. They just
But
don't
your
line up
teeth
and they
like
grind.
line up. Like this is where they're like it's not necessarily an underbite or something. It's just like they're not, they can't close right.
Don't typically a stereotypical handsome man has a bit of an underbite, right? You know, that they have
I think it's more of a pronounced chin than an underbite.
No, they have that kind of thing where they, you know.
Yeah, I guess what you're doing now. I
They
can
have
see
this
that.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There you go. You know.
Like a big butt chin is what I imagine. Like a, like a 50s type heartthrob guy.
What does this look like?
You look kind of sexier than you did before.
He's
I
a
think.
handsome man right here. Look
Yeah,
at this with
yeah.
an
You look
underbite
pretty
like
good.
this. You know, it's like, oh look.
Okay,
look
I
at
got
you,
a list of celebrities with underbites.
darling,
Okay,
darling, please make your way over here, please, darling. I just absolutely love you. You know,
let me just say that you are in the company of such celebrities as Bruce Springsteen,
Oh my God, done.
Nate Diaz, one of the toughest UFC fighters of all time, Woody Harrelson,
Okay, Woody.
You know, the guy who's Mr. Howell.
Seth Rogen. Okay,
Mr.
Oh,
Howell.
Mr. Howell, love it.
Mr. Howell.
Willem Dafoe, one of the most Colin Jost, Conor McGregor,
Colin Jost has an underbite?
Tucker Carlson. You're in the company of Tucker
Thank
Carlson.
God. I've been wondering what we had in common for so long, finally.
Get that tuck.
Hugh Grant. Okay, these are some hunks.
See,
Eli
Hugh Grant
Manning.
makes sense.
Eli
Yeah,
Manning.
Hugh Grant.
All right, Super Bowl winner.
Hugh Grant has the thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
He has that kind
they
of
have
like,
these sort of, you look absolutely
Morrissey.
You
All
look
right,
absolutely-
Morrissey. Sammy Davis
You
Jr.
look absolutely ravishing. Absolutely, I just think you're lovely, and I want to just ravish you. I want to take you on a Caribbean cruise to the Bahamas.
Wait, who are you doing right now?
Just any kind of handsome kind of guy with
Yeah.
he has an underbite.
I think it was like a Hugh Grant mixed with Mr. Howell.
Well, you know what it is?
from-
It's class too. It's kind of a upper class thing to have a lower have an
Underbite, upper crust.
Okay.
Now
all right.
let's talk about.
All right, let's get over the underbite.
Well, let's
thing.
talk about overbites for a second here. Now, overbites can look kind of cool too, huh? Sometimes.
I feel like an overbite is the opposite, and I'm not saying this because I have an underbite, and I'm not being classist against overbite
You
people.
think it's not sexy?
No, it's worse.
I feel like whenever there's like a character, like a Appalachian Mountain type character,
Well,
they're always kind of like
That's more bucktooth.
overbite, but like it's kind of that hangover look, you know?
Well, see,
No,
here's the
it's
thing.
not as. Look, the list is way smaller.
No,
We're talking
overbites
Freddie
can look-
Mercury. Okay. James
Wait, did he
Carville.
have a-
James Carville.
Did Freddie
I
Mercury
mean-
have an overbite or just big teeth? I feel like he just had big teeth.
You do big teeth because overbites can
It's an
look really
overbite.
cute especially on women. But actually, I've got an overbite too.
You do.
A little-
that's
a
why
little
you were
bit, a little bit.
That's why you were big upping overbites.
me see.
Let me
That's
see.
why I got these lips.
Are you flipping the sandwich over?
I
Brent?
feel like it's a little lower. It's pretty normal.
I'm
though,
not
right?
flipping the.
You flipping the
it
sandwich over?
No, I can't get my tongue through it. You know what I mean? But it's no, but I mean, sometimes an overbite can make the lip stick out in a way that's kind of cute. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
boys and girls.
There's a right way to do everything, right? Someone's got it perfect somewhere.
Doesn't Penny Marshall has an overbite, doesn't she?
Hey, look, I don't know. Beverly D'Angelo, though. So what are you gonna say?
Oh,
there?
Beverly D'Angelo. There you go.
There you go.
All right, so overbite people.
Oh, you know what
are
else?
company
Robert
too.
Carradine. You know who that is?
Is that the guy from the karate show?
That's
No,
that's a different Carradine.
A different
David.
Carradine. Keith Carradine is a brother of Kung Fu.
David Carradine, right?
David Carradine is Kung Fu.
Robert Carradine is like the head nerd on Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh,
See, overbite is nerd.
Right.
All right.
See, yeah, overbite.
Underbite
but
is like
his
tough.
looks good. Well, he plays the dad on Lizzie McGuire also.
he did, yeah. That's
You
a
know
good
about
point.
that?
Of course. I'm like I'm 35, so I was young in the Lizzie McGuire era.
Okay, interesting. Did you connect to Gordo?
No.
And why do I know these things?
Yeah.
It's because I feel like I talked about this before on the podcast, but when I do comedy shows, I would get home and it would be late at night. There was nothing on TV except for these Disney Channel reruns, and I would watch those.
Interesting.
I watch Bug Juice. I watch all these shows late at night because everything else, because on these other cable channels they would play paid advertising infomercials.
Yeah.
You guys know this song?
Is this the
I
underbite
like
drop?
to take out my teeth before I begin nibbling on your filthy skin.
What?
What is that? A masturbatory sound?
That was teeth chattering.
Oh, teeth chattering.
Sounded like someone cold.
For those
to
at
me.
home, Brent is not wearing headphones today.
No, but I could hear stuff though a little bit.
All right.
You can hear the chattering.
So, anyways, who else had got the overbite?
Now you got me on Pinterest. All right, you know what?
All right,
let's
get
get
off
off.
this.
Let's get off this.
You got to get off.
There is a lot more to talk
Close
about
it. Close it.
with Matt besides that. We don't want
Close it.
you know,
Close it.
I was getting
close.
excited to talk more about Lizzie McGuire, but we can move on.
Oh yeah. Gordon, did you
What
look
is
up to him?
what is Lizzie McGuire?
It's a Disney. Is it Disney or
Swear I
Nickelodeon
don't know
show?
It's a Disney Channel,
show.
tween show.
You guys like it?
Well,
Well, no. So I was a little older than it wasn't my demo probably at that age, but I had my little sister is 4 years younger than me, so she was always watching it, so it was on. And then my wife is also 4 years younger than me, so she was in the same era, so it was big for her. So it comes up a lot through like random shit on Twitter. Someone will talk about someone from that show, and she'll bring it up. So it comes up a decent amount in our life.
By the way, let me get this straight. The reason I watched it wasn't only because it was the only thing on, because everything else was paid advertisements, but also because I was interested at that point in my life in embracing things that I would normally not want to watch, and especially things that maybe I think were kind of corny. And so I started embracing it, and I started feeling weird feelings
Like
on my body.
Like that you were just into it, genuinely into it?
No.
Oh, like it was wrong.
Just this weird thing of, it was kind of very cringy to me, and I started getting goosebumps all over my body, and then I broke through, and I just started feeling these weird things I'd never felt before. It was very interesting. My body felt weird.
Are you talking about? Did you have a boner?
No. It's not.
What are you talking about?
It was nothing like that.
Nothing sexual?
No, nothing sexual.
No,
It was just
it's like a spiritual boner.
It was a
It's
weird,
different.
just
During
embracing
Lizzie
things
McGuire?
Well, it started with this show called Seventh Heaven. You ever hear that show?
I remember Seventh Heaven.
So
yeah.
that show, I watched that because it was almost this weird masochistic thing where you just embrace it and you feel this weird feeling, and then but if you embrace it enough, you kind of transcend it in a weird way. Anyway, but then I started appreciating the show beyond the corniness, and I started thinking, actually, there's some kind of funny stuff in here, you know?
I've revisited it every now and then, and there's some stuff that makes me laugh, and there's a show I did that with was Gossip Girl, the original Gossip Girl show. As like a joke, I had some friends that were like other like skate friends that were watching it, and then I watched an episode, and it's kind of like addicting because it's like a novella, you know? It's very like dramatic and obnoxious, but also like something about it was really, and I got really obsessed with it for like the first 2 seasons of that show. Not the new Gossip Girl, the old one.
What shows do skateboarders love?
So Gossip Girl, Lizzie McGuire. Man.
Do they like Beverly Hills 90210 or Melrose Place or Models Inc.?
I did.
You like Models Inc.?
I was gonna say I know a bunch
not
of
Models Inc. I don't know what that is.
I know a bunch of '90s skaters that really love Real World, like old, like skaters that are like 10 years older than me.
Well, I'm a '90s skater.
Were you a Real World fan?
Yeah, I did.
You related to Puck?
I was into that a little bit.
You were kind of a Puck guy.
Puck, yeah, Puck.
You're such a Puck. No, I think
Puck was a BMXer, but he was kind of the closest thing we had.
You know the sad thing about skaters, like in the very like deep core like skate industry world, is they don't watch or listen to or take in much aside from skateboarding a lot of the time.
Is that right?
Yeah, let's talk about
a lot of the time.
Let's talk about skateboarding a
skateboarders.
little bit, because I do want to get more skaters on. You know, I know some pro skaters and stuff. It'd be cool to get them on the show, but I'm a little worried that maybe they're not as talkative, or maybe pro skaters have to keep up this like image of being cool?
Yeah, I think, well, you see it a lot, I think, with the younger skaters. There's just, I don't know, I always think about this because I think a lot of the reason that you get into skating is because it's fun, but also there's this like thing that you think is cool when you're a kid. You know, you see someone skating and you're like, oh, that looks cool, I want to do that. The only person who ever says in their head, that looks cool, I want to do that, is someone who's a total nerd. So then you start skating, and then you feel like, oh, now maybe I'm less of a nerd now, I skate, you know? And I think that happens to a lot of like skaters, and then they get so stuck in this bubble of like, it's not wanting to be cool, it's not wanting to be uncool. Like, it's the most terrifying thing, I think, for a lot of skateboarders is to be viewed as uncool. And so like when it comes to talking on camera or talking, you know, into a microphone or doing an interview, there's a lot of resistance, I think.
They're reserved. They don't want to put themselves on the line. They don't want to risk looking stupid, so they just stay quiet.
Yeah.
You know, I do think there needs to be a show or a movie about like the dynamics at a skate park. You know, because sometimes there's like, it's all boys. It's all like males mostly. Now there's a lot more females there, and that changes the dynamic. But there's like, everyone's trying to like, it's hard to explain. You know what I mean? There's like the good guy at the park, he's like not going to look anyone in the eye, and he's going to like do his tricks really well. And everyone's going to kind of be like, whoa, he's awesome. But you know what I mean? It's like this weird dynamic.
Yeah, well, there's
you know what I mean? Like, I think there's something really interesting and funny about there's a lot to explore with that. Because no one really, unless you're a skater, which is kind of like this esoteric subculture in a way, when you're at the skate park, when you show up at the skate park, you act a little different. You have to like be cool and kind of like it's a lot of self-awareness, and you're worried about everyone's looking at you because like everyone's watching each other skate.
Yeah,
it's just like this weird situation. It's not like you're skating it's not like you're playing a game of ping pong where there's an opponent. You're just out there doing tricks, trying to look cool, trying to land the tricks. And then there's these kids that they keep not landing the tricks, and they have their shirts off, and they're throwing their board, and it's like they're having a temper tantrum. I just think all that is funny.
I think there's there's a lot of self-consciousness involved in it, right? Where you're like worried, and I said this before. It's like skating is everyone's like, oh, if you see a skater, like you're in the club, you're homies, but like. And that might be the case if you live in the middle of nowhere and you see one other skater for the first time in your life. But if you go to a skate park, you will literally sometimes, and I try not to do this as I've gotten older, I make it a point to like talk to people, but like you'll watch two skaters sit next to each other and skate for an hour and try tricks on the same obstacle, not say a word to each other, but like kind of clap for each other if they land things, whatever, but not talk. And then at the end of the session, you're leaving and you're like, later, man. And they're like, later.
I do that exact thing.
And so like, that's such a weird thing. You don't talk the whole time. You don't introduce yourself. You don't say your name, nothing. But then you make sure to say bye because you don't want to be rude. And it's like, well, what the fuck did you just do that whole time? Not even addressing this person really. Like I don't know.
I've done it. But you know, lately I try to talk to people, and I at least say what's up when I show up. And then if they're not responsive, I'm not going to be like, it's like, what am I going to talk about?
Because that makes you feel really low if you're like, hey, what's up? And they're just kind of like, give you a nod and you're like, oh,
yeah,
God.
It's like, all right, this person doesn't really want to talk. Fine.
Do an impression of interviewing a skateboarder.
I'll do the skateboarder.
You did one earlier.
I'll do the interviewer. So, X Games gold medalist. We have X Games gold medalist here. How long have you been skating?
I don't know, like a long time.
What was it like growing up in Orange County?
It's cool, like really chill. Everyone just was chill.
What's your favorite trick?
I don't know.
Right, exactly.
They're scared to answer anything.
I've done this exact interview with skateboarders multiple times, and like you just kind of got to keep going on it, you know. Or like it's I realized this recently when interviewing a skateboarder, and I'm not trying to say skateboarders are like dogs, but there's an Instagram that I follow about how they're teaching this dog to talk, and he has these like clickable buttons. Have you guys seen that shit? Where it's like they take a board and they put all these like buttons on it, and when the dog hits a button, it says like snack or like outside or like potty
I
or whatever.
think I saw Pug pressing one of those. Or something.
So there's a lot of people doing it right now. But this one woman that I follow, she talks about how with dogs you have to give them time to process, and you can't just like move on or say the command again or whatever. So you have to give them time. So I've found when I interview skaters, I ask a question, and if I get, I don't know, I just stay silent and I wait and give it like an awkward couple seconds of silence, and then they're like, I don't know, I guess I really like doing 360. Then they'll
force them to.
That's interesting that they feel.
Force their hand.
You know what you do is you create. People are uncomfortable with silence, so you make them uncomfortable and make them have to fill the silence. That's great.
Which is foreign because I'm the person who gets the most uncomfortable, so I always want to fill the silence. Like if they're
so you have to embrace something that makes you uncomfortable.
Oh, it's the worst because usually if I ask them a question,
it's Liz McGuire all over again.
So Lizzie, I'm such a Miranda. But I think if you
you know how people say that about Sex and the City? You're such a Miranda. When you say it, it's about Liz McGuire.
Different Miranda. Yeah, you're like, I'm being such a Gordo right now.
Right.
But I think. If you make them, it makes me uncomfortable to do it. But then once I do it, it forces them to like do the thing that I was just having to do. But also you think you asked them a dumb question. You're like, oh yeah, so what do you, I one time was on a trip with someone who this dude was kind of like a hot pro at the minute, you know, and he was like getting interviewed for a magazine, and we were in the room with him while he's on the phone, and everyone's kind of just hanging out, whatever. And the guy on the phone on speaker is like, he smoked a lot of weed, this skater. He's like, so what do you prefer smoking out of more, a bong or a spliff? And I just watched the skaters just like laugh at this dude, and the whole room laughed at this dude. And I think seeing those kind of moments, like, yeah, that's a dumb question, but also that guy just didn't know what the fuck to talk about with this dude. So he just got roasted and felt so dumb. And I think about that kind of moment, and that's like where I don't know, it's scary. You don't ask a dumb question.
You want to go?
You go ahead.
I just wanted to know, are there any goofy skateboarders? Are any skateboarders willing to look stupid besides?
Well, this is what I was going to actually get into, because one time I got roasted. I had kind of like, I had some bad shoes and like weird pants on, and some other kid was like, I can't believe you're wearing those shoes or something. And I'm like, who am I trying to impress here? And I guess everyone's just trying to impress each other, even though like we're, you know, ostensibly a bunch of straight boys, you know, like, you know, males.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of funny. I mean, he is right. I kind of like look whack today, but this was years ago. I was looking whack. All right, I'll admit it.
Was he saying it because your shoes were like really skated up and fucked up, or because he just...
No, I don't know. They were just like these kind of like weird colored Nikes or I don't know. They just weren't cool. You know what I mean?
And he didn't know you, and he just kind of...
He didn't know me. He was just like...
Shoes.
He did. I swear. It was at Garvanza. He's like, I can't believe you were skating in that, or something like that. I'm like, I guess I didn't know what was trendy. I didn't really care.
That'll stick with you, though.
It kind of stuck with me, but then I also kind of think I wear gloves when I skate because I kept falling in my little local DIY spot, which the ground is really rough, and I fall on my hands, and my hands started getting ripped up, so I just started wearing these biking gloves. And then I just started wearing them. I started getting used to it so much, I didn't even think about it. I was just wearing them at the skate park, and people are like, I would put little clips on Instagram or something like, why do you wear gloves? What's up with those gloves? And I'm like, yeah, that kind of looks dorky. But then I'm like thinking, who cares?
No.
I don't care. I'm just going to like wear gloves. I'm going to try to push the point of like, sure, there's nothing wrong with looking cool, but there's like nothing wrong with like wearing something that's not trendy or like uncool. That's why I think this skater Andy Anderson is a good example. He wears a helmet at all times, and he wears kind of like, he just doesn't look like, he's not trendy at all.
Well, nothing he does. He does everything the opposite of whatever is like the common thing happening in skating. He's kind of going the other direction.
He's like super nerdy about it. Like his board, it has this crazy shape with like all these like micro little angles on it. And I saw him break it down on like the 9 Club or something. He's like, yeah, this is at a 0.2 degree angle for the kick flip, but I can also do impossibles, and I can also do, and it's like, it's just the board looks weird, and his whole vibe is,
if you do it with confidence,
not trendy or cool.
If you do,
but he's really good, and he's one of my favorite skaters.
If you do anything with confidence, then
it won't
look it won't look stupid,
and just own it. By the way,
you own it, and people are going to want to copy you.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, if you do it in a way that like anything can be done in a, I hate to use the word cool, but cool way, right? Like you do there's tricks that are taboo in skating, like, oh, don't do this trick, it's whack. And then one day someone really cool decides to do that trick and it looks awesome, and then within the year everyone has it in their video part. And it's like, it's just, everyone just follows, you know, in everything. I think it's just they wait for someone to kind of like take the risk, and then once you take the risk and no one laughed at you or whatever. I think the Andy Anderson thing is like, skating needs that all the time. Someone who's just like, what do I like? I don't care. Like, I hope that he does all that stuff because he genuinely likes it and not just because it's against the grain, because every single thing he does is totally the opposite of what's like, you know, in quotes, cool in skating.
Right.
But it works and tons of people love it, and he's really good and he seems to enjoy it. So like, I don't know him very well. We've talked once or twice, but I hope that it's just genuine, and that's rad if it is, because he just fully does his own thing. He's crazy talented.
Well, he's fun to watch, I'll say that.
For sure. I was going to say, too, to your point earlier about getting your shoes shit talked, like, I had a moment when I was young, and I was at something with other kids, and I had my skateboard up against the wall, and some of the cooler skate kids were like, whose board is this? And I was kind of lurking, like, 6 feet behind them, like, listening, because I wasn't friends with them. and they picked my board up, and it had marks sliding like up and down the board from riding off curbs because I couldn't like ollie or do tricks yet, and you're supposed to have like board slide marks that go across.
Crossways.
And they picked it up, and the one kid, Mikey, I remember his name, and Mikey goes, "These are poser marks," and they like laughed at my board and like set it down, and I just remember feeling like, wow, like I was so bummed. Like
that whole thing is so dumb because I recently learned about the mall.
The mall grab.
The mall grab.
Yeah.
Which is like,
wait, I'm
who
curious.
cares? What?
Just hearing that,
That's
what
the
do
dumbest
you
thing.
think a mall grab is, Brett? So as someone who doesn't skate, I'm curious, when you hear mall grab, what does that sound like to you?
I thought it's somebody skating around in a mall, a shopping center.
Yeah.
And they maybe grab onto something at the mall while they're...
Like a product? Like they're skating through Hot Topic?
Yeah,
and they
no, you
grab
just, you basically get on your skateboard and you just go right through JCPenney and you just grab all the items that appeal to you,
Like
and then you're out of there.
Like a KB Toy Run.
And you, KB Toy Run, exactly.
Yeah,
And then you just quickly just slam you just go right through the checkout.
Yeah.
You got to stay on the board the whole time.
So it's stealing, essentially, right?
Well, no, you pay
you
for
pay.
it. Yeah, part of the trick is paying for it too. No, I was thinking maybe you grab onto a pole that's at a mall, at a shopping center, or grab onto a railing or something like that.
So that's, I mean, it's close. It's about,
Wow.
it's basically how you hold your skateboard. The term, I think, came from, because you basically, anyone who looked at a skateboard and you say, hey, carry this. If you don't skate, the most ergonomic way to carry a skateboard is to put your hand underneath the truck and your two fingers, you do like a Spock kind of thing, and your fingers go up underneath the truck and between the board, and it makes this really nice handle. But because skaters are, like decide like, oh, the easy thing is lame, at some point someone decided like, that's kooky. That's how kids, like poser kids who hang out at the mall, carry their board.
Oh,
So
really?
you see-
It does relate to the
So
mall.
it does relate to the
even-
actual mall. So you were halfway there.
Oh, wow.
But it's just so funny that they make fun of people for the way they carry it. If they're just walking,
But that's like skate culture is like
it's like,
so.
okay, the cool way to hold it is like this, kind of like.
Well, you can
like
hold
that.
it by the nose. Like, you can carry it like this next to you. You can carry it like sideways like that. Like I
But
remember
holding
being-
it like this on the truck, for somehow that's lame.
yeah, you'll be like that's.
So what's the cool way of holding the?
You just do like either like along the long way of the board.
Kind of like
from
it's the board
side.
sideways, horizontal.
Oh, surfboard style.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
you can carry it
surfboard
by the
style.
nose. Like there's a couple but that I feel so dumb saying that because there's no, as an adult, I'm like, there's no wrong way to carry your fucking skateboard. But at some point, I think what happened was skaters didn't carry their board like that, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, Guess in the 80s did an ad where they hired a model to hold a skateboard or something, and that's how they held it. So all these corny non-skate companies trying to get into skating that don't know that stuff were like putting models in ads, and they're all grabbing like that, or like the trucks are put on backwards and all these things because they don't know. So I think it kind of became this stigma thing of like, oh no, that's how a kook who doesn't skate carries their skateboard.
This reminds me of this test people used to do in elementary school to see if you were lame or not or something. So can I do the test on you guys?
Yeah,
please
do
do.
it to me?
Okay, both of you.
Okay.
Just show me how you just look at your nails, your fingernails. Like, hold your hand in front of you and look at your fingernails.
I don't know. Like,
Okay, interesting. So if you did
I
it,
mean, like this.
this
is
that
another
would
way.
be the lame way supposedly,
really?
and then this is the cool way, or this is the more feminine way.
If
This is more
well,
feminine,
if you said
and
that,
then-
if you said this was if you didn't say this was a cool contest, maybe I would have done it like that. But I think I've done both.
So it's another
Well,
like
I'm gonna do it like this.
Well,
now.
it's not even a cool thing. It's a more of a it's like guys are supposed to look at their nails like this, and girls do it like that.
so
or
it's like
something like
it's
that.
like homophobic basically. It's
kind
like
of
the
a thing.
concept
It was
is
kind of a
like-
thing like that. And then
Yeah.
here's the other one. But yeah, oh gosh, you have to sort of stand up for this. But okay, well, do you mind standing? Well, I don't know. I don't want to make
Yeah,
it.
I'll stand up. Let's do it.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
So, okay, look at the bottom of your shoe. Okay, that's the way the guys do it. So if
If a girl does like this,
the girl,
around the back?
yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. You look at
Okay.
it from the back, yeah. So if you kick your foot up and look at it from behind you, that's supposed to be the feminine way, and then the masculine way is to put it in front of you.
God,
Then there was one other test too that they did. I'm trying to remember what it is now. Yeah. I think this might be it. I can't remember though. But put your hands on your hips. Okay, that's the feminine one. We got you on that one. Supposedly, no. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe I'm making that one up. Actually, no. You guys are doing it right. I think.
I mean,
If you're trying to be a real man, But
Brent, let me try one on you. Fold your arms.
Fold my arms?
Yeah, you might have to put the mic down. That's the feminine way.
Yeah, but I'm confident about it. What's the masculine way?
It's like this.
You hug yourself?
I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious.
I'm doing that like
That's-
buffalo stance, like that, like that b-boy thing.
B-boy stance.
That's hilarious. Wait, I'm trying to remember what that third one is. I don't think it was the hands on the waist. It was what was it? It was gee whiz.
All
I
right,
can't
Brent.
remember.
I have another one for you.
Okay, yeah, please.
Okay, pick your nose.
Well, okay.
That's the ladies' way. That's the ladies' way to do it.
Yeah.
What's the other way?
You need a pocket knife.
It's
It's like this. You got to get it way up in there.
Right, that's funny. Yeah, it's kind of like Foster's Australian for beer or something like that, you know?
God, people are really fucked up. Like all these seem like they're rooted in just like trying to like call kids gay or make fun of them or call them femme. Like it's such a fucking like
It's elementary school.
yeah, just kids just coming up with ways
Yeah.
to like fucking ostracize. It's such a it's stuff that you just when you're young you're like that's just the thing that joke that kids play at school, and then now you hear them and you're like, oh, this is all terrible. Like it's fucking it's such a I don't know, kids are mean.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember how. I think this is what it is. Okay, cross your legs. Oh, well, you're sitting down. You cross your legs.
I think I know what it's going to be. I know the man way. You're like this.
Yeah, that's the manly way.
Is it because if you
Is
have big junk,
But if you go like
can't
this,
squeeze it?
yeah, you can.
I like both ways, though.
Well, no, it is way more comfortable to do it the quote feminine way or whatever, which is to have your leg fully on top of your other leg.
Right, it's crossed.
Okay, so
Crossed
the
and, like,
masculine way,
thighs
just
touching.
describing it for the listeners, is that your ankle is sort of resting on your knee. You say your right ankle, for example, is resting on your left knee, but
That's the man way.
That's the man way. The woman way is to just fully cross your legs, closing any kind of gap in between your leg. You know what I mean?
I
Just
can't
fully-
even do that one.
Which one?
The one where your leg's fully over. Like I don't even get there because I have
Because you're just too much of a man.
I have too many. No, I have massive thighs, which just I can't do that way. It's always going to be.
Well, you're more of a man. Well, you're kind of doing it.
I mean,
but
I
here's the
generally-
real answer. You want to see how to cross your legs like a man?
Yeah.
You don't. You spread them further.
hell yeah, brother.
You go first.
What if you like man spread so far that you're straight up doing like
Yoga.
the splits, like
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme? You're just like you're in the subway and your legs are you're in the center of it, and one leg is on
All the way across?
This
each
is how you
bench on
do
either
it.
side.
You go like this. This is how a wimp crosses his legs, and then it's whatever he does it the girl way. Then it's this is how a man crosses his legs. Then it's the ankle on the knee way, right? And then it says this is how a real man crosses his legs, and it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just doing the splits on top of the trucks.
Yeah, with
the two
Enya,
trucks.
Enya playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're playing in the background.
That commercial is amazing.
Do another test, Doug. Oh, I know it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was gonna move on, but
Hey, you want to hear an interesting little tidbit? You know Mortal Kombat, the video game? You know it?
sure.
Have you heard of it, Doug?
I've heard of it. Is
Have
that
you-
where the two guys are fighting?
Well, it's not just two. You can pick from like 12 different guys and girls, and
It's that game where two guys are fighting.
and you're pressing a million buttons, like
Yeah, you're pressing
Street
buttons.
Fighter kind of thing.
You're pressing buttons.
Is it like a Street Fighter?
It is a fighting game, yes.
it's
but
similar, but it's not the same.
There's two characters going, and you have to start going.
It could be any game. That
I
could
hate
be
that
almost
shit.
any game.
It's the worst game ever.
They don't do that. Nobody plays like that.
Yeah, when you're at the arcade, they're just like
Hey, your goal is to get the other guy stuck in a corner, and you
You're
can
making
just
it like
keep
you're playing
kicking him.
drums or something.
you're like mashing on the buttons and hitting them.
Nobody
like,
mash. Yeah, I mean,
they're mashing
a real
the buttons,
player,
dude.
A real player doesn't mash.
Yeah, real players doing sequences and
Yeah,
codes,
they're,
and
they're very
like,
deliberate in what they're doing. They're not just randomly smacking the thing. That's a mall
I play
hit.
Tony
They
Hawk
call
Pro
that-
Skater.
they
That's
call,
it.
They call that a mall hit.
yeah, you're
A mall tap. They call that mall tapping.
You're a mall tapper. That's embarrassing for you.
All right, so Doug.
By the way, after this, I get a video game question for you.
Okay, but check this out. So Mortal Kombat, it is a fighting game. One of the characters, Johnny Cage, you're probably not familiar with it enough to know who Johnny Cage is, right?
Is he-
Johnny Cage does the splits and punches you in the balls,
Yes.
right?
He
Okay,
does.
I think I've seen that.
Well, Johnny Cage, originally this game was supposed to be based on Jean-Claude Van Damme. Or it was supposed to use his likeness. It was supposed
Was that
Johnny
real?
Cage was supposed to be Van Damme,
Okay.
but for some reason it didn't work out. But they still, he resembles Van Damme.
Yeah.
So Johnny Cage is basically Jean-Claude Van Damme, kind of. Now, what's interesting though is that Street Fighter the movie,
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. So something's up with that.
Interesting.
Make that connection. Make that connection that I just made. Somebody else. Somebody else try to make that connection. All right.
Street Fighter movie.
Basically, all I'm saying is that Mortal Kombat was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then he ends up being starring in Street Fighter the movie. That's interesting stuff.
Street Fighter's before Mortal Kombat, though, right?
Yes, but Street Fighter the movie
was after
Mortal Kombat. But then they ended up making a game that was Street Fighter the movie, the game, right? Or they made a game version of Street Fighter the movie, which had a digitized Van Damme in there, I think.
Wow. So maybe it was like a Nike Adidas thing. They're like, going head to head, and they tried to buy him out, and then they said no, they came in with a higher contract and they got him for Street Fighter.
Something like that. Go ahead, Doug. What's your question?
Do you play video games?
Not really. I just have played a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater and like EA Skate. I'm just for my video game playing era of my life where I would have gotten into that, I feel like I was just such a skate nerd, so I've only played skate video games really.
Me too. I mean, I played like a snowboarding. I just like games like that where you're kind of moving through space and you're not. I hate when you're like going through a building and you're like zooming in on someone and shooting them and
I just suck at
hunting
that.
them. I suck at it.
Yeah.
It never appealed to me. I like skateboarding games and games when you're like flying through stuff or
you gotta
even like when I did Atari back in the day or Nintendo, it was like Excite Bike.
You gotta play.
I like things where you're like moving around. Is there any modern games that aren't these dumb games?
You would
like,
love this.
Where you're going.
Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Now, what's that all about?
Well, you're basically just moving through stuff. Moving through.
Side scroller?
No, but you're dodging things.
Okay.
Is it a new game or an old game?
It's very good. One of my favorite games of the decade, of the 2010s.
Are you a big video game person?
Yeah.
Okay.
But mostly old games.
Okay.
Mostly old.
He has a podcast where he does video game music from the 8-bit era.
Oh,
It's 16-bit era.
16-bit era too.
And both. But you had a question. Yeah.
I was gonna say I always had an aversion to video games because I've been probably since my early teens, I've always been overweight, and I always thought that it was too much of a cliche for the fat kid to play video games.
Oh, really?
So I think I made it a point. That's why I like skating or like riding bikes or playing basketball or like doing activities because I always thought it was I didn't want to be the stereotype. Like I'm not the kid who sits inside and eats and plays video games. I'm the kid who does a lot of activity and then eats a lot afterwards. It was like a different. So I had this weird negative view of video games. I think for my whole life.
Interesting.
By the way, you're a good skater.
Thanks. I think I'm decent for my weight class.
You get some crooked grinds and stuff like that.
I always think if they did contests by weight class, I could do all right.
Why don't they do that?
I don't know. It'd be like if I was in a 250 plus division, I know some big skaters that rip, are way better than me, and they're
How heavy do you think Jamie Foy is?
He's probably 180, but maybe at his heaviest he was closer to 200. There was a point when he was pretty beefy.
'Cause he's really good.
When he came out, he was so when I met Jamie Foy, I was in New York for an AM contest, and Nike had a bunch of their Flow kids come up from Florida or whatever, and I went to dinner with my friend Jack, who worked for Nike, and we were at the table with all these kids, and Jamie Foy was there, and he was just this chubby little blonde kid who was wearing Nike shit. And we were talking to some of the kids, and I asked Jack, I'm like, what's this kid's deal? Is he a filmer or something? He's like, oh, no, he skates for Nike. And I was like, no.
A filmer.
I was like, this kid skates for Nike? This kid right here, we were at the meatball shop, this place in New York, and he's got 2 plates of spaghetti and meatballs. He was going in and eating. And I was like, no, that's wrong. And he was like, no, he's pretty good. And the next day I saw him skate, and I was like, holy shit, this is I loved it.
He just won the best trick contest at X Games.
He not like he was a novelty. Oh, he's chubbier than all the other kids. He's actually significantly good at he's fucking amazing.
Skater of the year a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and he started skating huge rails.
With the news.
Yeah, but he I love that. And there's more
I love that.
Not calling out anyone for being fat or saying that they're fat, but I love Frankie Villani is a kind of a heavier skater who's gnarly too and skates tech really well. That never used to exist really. That wasn't a thing when I was growing up, and it's cool to see all these kids that are they're eating and skating, and I love it.
I like it, breaking the mold.
You had another video game question?
Well, that was kind of the question. Like,
Oh, okay,
what
never
game? Because I do kind of miss playing. I don't know. I probably shouldn't get a game system. I have too many projects.
You don't want
to
it.
do.
You don't
No,
want
it's that's the other thing. I think it's too time. I'm like already have enough things that are take away from things I want to do, and video games. I didn't have a video game. I don't know what you call them, systems, console. With the,
Yeah, system.
Right.
I didn't have a
Console.
system forever for probably like 8 years, and then when the new Tony Hawk game came out last Christmas, I went and bought a PlayStation 4 so I could play that game. Like I just was excited to play a Tony Hawk game. And I did for like a week straight, and you beat it and you play a bunch, and now it's just been sitting.
By the way, Tony Hawk competed in the best trick contest on Vert the other day, and he's 52 or something.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, early.
And
50s.
he was competing against a kid that's 14.
Yeah,
That's another cool thing about skateboarding.
for sure.
The age. What other sport do you have a 14-year-old and a 52-year-old in the same, competing in the same
The
contest?
Tetris World Championships.
Maybe.
They got this 6
Yeah, video games and see, Brent, video games and skateboarding cross over to your
Wait,
world.
are you into Tetris? Are you like a Tetris fan?
I think it's cool. I'm not that good, but these championships are pretty interesting, though.
Yeah. I've seen. Do you know this? Jaws, Aaron Hamoki, pro
Yeah.
skater. He went to like the championships, and he's like obsessed with Tetris. And,
Oh, he did?
Yeah, yesterday we were talking, and he's been streaming on Twitch.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
like streams his Tetris, and he was telling me like. Yeah, I don't remember. It's like someone who doesn't skate talking to a skater. He's like, "Yeah, I did like a triple L flip to a backdoor rose garden, and then I Tetrised,
What?
and like when I get a good one, I just made that up. That's just. But he said
Triple L flip could be a thing because
That
there is an L
that
piece.
sounds right.
But he said something that was so foreign to me, and he's like, and then like I got a really clean Tetris, and like when I get that part of my stream, I save that to post on my Instagram, and I'm just like, it's so sick to like learn about all the nuanced shit within just a game like Tetris.
Well, it's
even.
really funny. There's these commentators during the championships, and the stuff they say is so funny, but they're really good at it too.
Yeah.
But they say stuff, like, okay, well, Brian's about to transition, which means he's about to go to the next level. Like when you hit a certain amount of points, you go to the next level, and then the speed increases. So it's just funny when they say he's about to transition, and then they'll say, okay, he's got a nice side well, or then sometimes they say, oh, he's building a center well, which means, well, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. But
Does it mean
anyway,
there's like a dip in the center, basically? Like
well,
you're
no,
building
it's
up the sides?
meaning there's an empty space in the middle. A center well is an empty space in the middle, so that you need just a line piece to go in to make a Tetris. But
Gotcha.
And they say, okay, he is Tetris. They'll say he's Tetris ready, meaning he just needs one piece to make a Tetris.
Tetris ready, dude.
Yeah.
That's what's sick when you learn about other shit like that. Just stuff you never would have imagined that there's that much of a culture around one game like Tetris, right? They're just like, oh, there's people that because. My wife likes to give us shit sometimes, like me and my friends. Like I'll have a friend come and stay at our house, and we'll watch skate videos for like 4 hours and drink beer and just talk about skating. And like she'll catch us every now and then saying some stupid thing, and she'll just like say it back and laugh because she's just like, "What?" Like you're like, did you no comply off that pole jam? And she's like, "What the fuck? No comply off a pole jam?" I mean, she does know what that means actually, but she it points out how
Wait, who
stupid
could?
you
That's
sound.
impossible.
let
no
me try
comply
to-
off a pole jam. Where does
Yeah,
your foot
you
go?
just
Where
put
does
your
your
foot-
foot
you
go?
put your foot on the ground,
Well,
and then
let me
you
try
no
to
comply.
decipher it because I don't know what that means. Let me
Yeah,
try
what
to
do you
figure
think
this-
a no comply pole jam
No
is?
comply pole jam. It's when basically you just get. This is without your consent. Someone just takes a pole and they just go right in there.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I mean,
They just jam it right
But
up.
Brent,
in that-
if you can imagine that on a skateboard, what would that look like?
Okay, so if you were skateboarding and you basically, this is what happens, is you go up a ramp or something like that, or you start flying in the air, and you did not intend to do this. You didn't comply or whatever. And then you just sort of land on some pole, and it goes right up your butt.
yeah.
Is that a no comply?
So the thing
Pole
about
jam.
that is that has happened in the process of someone trying a no comply pole jam, but it's essentially when there's a pole that would stick straight out of the ground that's been hit by a car and it's at an angle, and it's when you take 1 foot off, step on the ground, take your back foot and your board and slide it up the rail and jump over it.
Oh, so it's kind of like using the pole as a ramp.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's a pole jam.
And the pole doesn't. Ideally, the pole does not go in anywhere of.
It doesn't
like,
jam into anything?
No, that's
Then why
the
is
thing.
it called a jam?
Because you're jamming up the pole. It's like a jam to get up the pole. The pole doesn't jam in. You jam
Okay,
the pole.
you jam the pole
Yeah.
up. It's more like a skid. It's like a pole skid.
Or a pole launch. Yeah, there's
pole launch.
There's a lot of stuff that's wrong about how things are named.
Pole jam. I guess you can kind of, it's a jam in the sense of, when you jam with your friends and stuff, you're kind of jamming with the pole. You're working with the pole to sort of create something.
You and the pole are jamming together.
You're jamming together, yeah.
But
exactly.
skateboarding makes no sense. There's a trick called a frontside board slide where you're sliding
let me try
backward. Oh, sorry.
Let me try it. Let me try to figure it out. What is it? Say it again.
Frontside board slide.
Front side, board side?
Board slide.
Board side. Front side, board slide.
Yeah.
Okay, well, basically the front side of the board. Oh, it slides.
I was expecting
It slides
more.
against the ground. It slides against the ground.
It's the front side board slide because
I know what it is.
It doesn't make sense, but
No.
it kind of does make sense.
No, it
If you're
does.
looking at
Front
the...
side.
But when you're a
Boards-
kid,
no, it's
or
basically
if
when
you,
someone takes the board without your consent and they sort of just slide it into your
front side?
into your butt crack, going in there a little bit and just sort of
From the front.
From the front.
yeah, that's what all
They come in the front.
all
the front.
skateboard tricks just involve putting things in your butt.
Well,
most
a lot of
most
things.
the time.
Well, you think it's going to come from the back because, that would be the obvious way. But then the guy
Goes
comes from the front.
up
He
from
goes
underneath.
He goes up from. He goes underneath, and he just slides right in.
Brent, there's a trick called a Madonna. What do you think that is?
Basically, it's when you wear these like cones on your breasts and you just sort of skate around on them. Oh no, I know what it is. There's two cones. Traffic cones on the ground, and you just have to sort of weave through them, figure 8 through them.
Because of them, do they have tassels on them or no?
No, they're just you blast borderline at the same time, and then you just
Okay.
you blast like a prayer.
I was gonna say you're close. It actually is like a prayer. That's the correct way to do the Madonna.
There it is.
I do want to vent a little bit about the X Games, just because you might understand, but...
I'm curious.
We do.
Okay, I was watching the vert competition, and the commentator was so annoying. He doesn't know any vert tricks.
Oh yeah.
Just like front side 3, back side 5, did another 5. That's the fakie 5, and it's like, no, dude, that's a McTwist. And it's like, oh, you did the 1 foot to tail? No, that's a Madonna. All right.
Yeah, I feel for
everything
him.
is like a 5 or a 2 or a 1 or a 3.
They're just abbreviate. Well, so I feel for him.
But he
announced.
doesn't know the tricks. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, Tony Hawk with the 360 to 5. No, that's a caballerial to backside pivot.
So
Ooh.
I think that the problem is because I've announced a lot of contests and I've done like Tampa and.
I mean, it's got to be tough, but he truly just didn't. And then this one guy was doing these big stalefish airs. And he's like, oh, with the big front side air. It's like, it's a stalefish.
Yeah, that's unexcusable. But I do feel bad for them because I'm a street skate. Like I know street skating stuff, and I don't know a lot of transition is very specific.
Yeah, but get someone
Yeah, but sometimes they just get
Tony
one.
Hawk in there.
They just
I
get
don't
one guy, and he does it all. Like they're
I
like,
know, that's
like
cheap. Come on, it's the X Games. You should have the proper.
Yeah,
The guy was good on the street course one, but
But if someone does an invert, gets up, I don't know what the hell to call it when I'm announcing. So I just go, oh, he really got up on one arm there. Like I say something that's kind of vague or like.
Well, that's funny. Can you make up? So you don't want to make up your own terms though, because people will call you out.
Well,
for
if
it.
I say that was an andrect and someone's like, that wasn't an andrect, that was a I don't even know how many. There's a million different types of invert tricks.
there's a sad plant.
Yeah, it was a sad plant, or that was an eggplant, not an andrect. And I've had it before. Old guys like I'm done, and I'm like 22 or something, young, like done announcing the contest or whatever. Walking out, and some like 50-year-old dude in like a JFA shirt comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, that was an andrect, not an eggplant."
He's like, you want to see what an eggplant is? And then he gets an actual eggplant and he
puts it
sticks it inside of your crevice. Yeah.
Egg jam, I think, is what that is.
Well, that's because you jam with the eggplant. It's consensual.
But yeah, there's a lot of angry old skaters that get mad about calling tricks wrong, and so it's scary.
That's me. I'm that guy. I guess I'm that guy.
You are.
But
No.
I figured, I wouldn't be mad at you. I just.
No, I understand it though. I do the same
Because
thing.
the X Games, you want this is like the Olympics of skateboarding. Well,
now the Olympics
is the Olympics,
which is happening like today, I think.
The skateboarding contest of the Olympics?
Or tomorrow. I don't know. Everyone's there right now. That's all I see on Instagram. Everyone's doing the Olympics.
Do you know
right
some
now.
people in the Olympics?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
A good amount of them. They're maybe, lots of them.
Are they trying to be cool and stuff?
I don't think you can be cool once you... No, that's not true. There's plenty of cool people in the Olympics. But I think they're just owning whatever's happening.
No, but they're not trying to be all kind of downplaying themselves.
No, I think all the Olympic skaters have to be like media ready. I think they've I don't know if they do training or if they just get talked to by people and stuff. They're the type
Do
of
they have to
skaters.
wear special outfits in the Olympics?
Yeah, Nike made uniforms.
But do they look skatery or are they...
Yeah, they like to look like tracksuits.
Oh, the tracksuits. Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
They're like skate, like tech skater. You're like sportwear skater.
Like
you know?
Nyjah
Do
or something?
other skaters think this is really lame that people are doing the Olympics?
Yeah, some of them for sure. There's like a
Is
lot
it
of
the first time that skateboarding is in the Olympics?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's the first year. So there's just a big divide. You know, there's just a bunch of different lanes of skating now. You know, there's all these different like multiple worlds within skating, and like the Olympics skating is just one. There's a kid in the Olympics who like is sponsored, is pro, is skating in the Olympics. He's from Mesa, Arizona, my hometown. Has never really had like a pro skate career. He's never filmed a video. I mean, he probably has, but like he's not really gone the path of most pro skaters. But he's literally worked since he was a child to be in the Olympics, and he's there. So like he just stayed in that Olympic lane the entire time, and now he's there. And he doesn't really.
Do people talk crap about him?
Probably like core angry skaters. Like I wouldn't, because it's just like he's just a young kid who.
What's the age range of the people in the Olympics right now?
It's all over. I think there's kids as young as like 16 probably, and then like Alexis Sablon is like 35. I think she's my age, maybe right around there.
But
She's in the Olympics.
Is it separated by gender? Is there a women's and
Gender,
men's?
yeah.
They
but
do
not,
that.
Yeah, but not by age. It's just they have a women's comp and a men's comp, and then
That's interesting. I wonder is there a reason for that?
that's just how it's all. I think there's a lot of.
Are there any co-ed Olympic categories?
I don't think so. Aren't they all gender specific?
I don't know. I wonder that.
Not that I know of. I think they're all separated.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe dressage, the horse dancing event. Do the horses get separated by gender? Have you guys ever seen dressage?
Riding a male horse. Here is.
No, you don't ride them. You train them. You like train your horse to dance, and then your horse goes out and does a dance, right? And it's like,
This is an Olympic thing?
yeah.
Really? I thought you were joking.
No, this is like some weird archaic. Maybe it's not there now, but it was like the last time they had the Olympics. It's like some archaic sport where you basically train horses to dance in a routine type of thing, and they go out and dance and win medals or something.
So what do they wear? Dresses and stuff? I mean, what are they wearing? Are they wearing tap dancing
They wear
shoes?
medals if they win. I don't know. I
Do
think
they get little tap dancing
horseshoes.
Horseshoes?
Aren't horseshoes already tap dancing shoes?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say so.
I think it's you got a proper line on
So
this.
who comes out?
Doug?
I'm looking it up. It's tough to.
Does
there's no.
Baryshnikov come out?
Maybe. I don't know. I remember seeing it and just thinking, what? This is like... There's some really weird sports that are still in the Olympics because I guess once you're in, you're in. I don't know how that works, but...
I have an Olympic. By the way, we had the no Olympic people on Office Hours, the other podcast I did today.
What's that do?
They're like way against the Olympics, and the Olympics is messed
no
up.
Olympics. They're anti because there's like a whole... Like the Olympics has an awful history. and
It's
just,
bad.
like, really
There's a lot of bad
fucking-
things about it.
Mm.
Like most of people in Japan don't want it, but it's like this Olympic committee is like ramming it through. Like they have no choice.
Ramming it through, just like a jam, like a
Just
pole
like a
jam.
pole jam.
It's a real no-comply pole jam they're
or
pulling out there.
a front side broadside.
Okay, there are some sports that are no women allowed at all.
Still?
Greco-Roman wrestling.
There's wrestling in the Olympics?
Well, Greco-Roman style.
Greco-Roman
yeah.
style, sorry.
Wait, I mean, there's a long article here.
Is there Vince McMahon style?
Finn.
That should be it.
There's a sport called
Right.
Finn, one-person dinghy.
What?
This sailing discipline is apparently the greatest sailing test for an individual, according to sailor Zach Rayleigh in this article.
So there's
But it's
sailing?
a sailing sport where it's one person, one boat. That's kind of cool. It's called Finn.
Finn.
50-kilometer race walking.
Race walking?
Yeah, I can't find a decent explanation for why the 50K race walk is male only in the Olympics. Both men and women can compete.
Huh.
And women appear to have raced competitively in the 20K race. But who knows, it says. Rings. Okay, well, I mean, there's many, obviously, gymnastic things.
There's
But yeah, I can't find any that are like, they're both. I don't think... Are there any sports that both men and women play? That's the...
Well, anyway, I'm sure someone, if they had a cricket button, they would be pressing it right now. So maybe we should move on to another topic.
Yeah, we
here.
can talk about the Olympics later.
I mean,
I'm not bored.
Well, just the act of looking stuff up. Well, let's look up some other stuff. Yeah.
It's like when you're hanging out with a friend and they start
Yeah.
just showing you your phone, their phone only, and the conversation stops.
Yeah.
They get in their photo reel and they're like, "Oh, but this was funny last
Exactly.
week."
Yeah. It's gotten to a point where we're kind of just looking at. Well, let's see what else is on the internet here.
Yeah.
Let's talk to each other. Let's be present. Let's
Yeah,
connect.
We're back in a studio after what?
yeah, I mean, we're
18
Well, you were
in a
asking a
studio.
question, and I looked it up.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, maybe for the last little bit here, we can just learn about Matt Price a little bit. So clearly, you grew up skating, and you like did you always want to work within the skateboarding industry?
For sure. Once you like decide you're like obsessed with skating, you're like, okay, how do I do this forever? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be pro. So that rule, which is really good, because some people are kind of good enough to be pro and they try for way too long, and then they don't form any other skills along the way. And then when they realize they're not going to be pro, their lives are kind of meaningless and a bummer. But I was like very early knew I wasn't going to be pro. So I was like, well, how do people work in skating? So I saw like people filming and people taking pictures. So I started shooting photos. And I just hung around good skaters that way, and then just like tried to take their pictures and learned.
And where did you grow up?
Mesa, Arizona.
Mesa, Arizona. Thank you, Brent.
And you've had photos in magazines and stuff. What was your first like break into that?
So I worked for a magazine called the Skateboard Mag. It's a really cool name.
I know the Skateboard Mag.
Yeah, so all the guys who started and built Transworld into what it was, when Transworld got sold to AOL Time Warner, there was like a corpo takeover thing. They were over it, so they all quit and started their own mag. It was like a Jerry Maguire moment, kind of.
It's called Transworld?
Yeah, Transworld Skateboarding. And
Brent, don't go there.
No, I was clarifying. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
It's called Transworld. That's right.
But so they started a new mag or whatever, and I worked for them for 8 years and was the photo editor there so I did a lot of stuff. They were kind of like, I had some stuff running Thrasher in the beginning, and then some stuff in Transworld as well, and then Skateboard Mag gave me a job, and I did that for a long time. And then
How did that job work?
They basically just give you a small retainer, and they buy you film, and they give you assignments, and they say like, oh, go to Italy with the Bones team and shoot an article.
Oh, cool.
And then the editor was like, hey, can you write? Which is like, this is amazing. That for skateboarding, like the credentials to like write is like, can you write? And I said, yeah, I guess. And he's like, cool, write an article for this.
Really?
So I started writing too. So
they pay for all that, your trip and everything?
Yeah, the brand pays for it usually. Or usually it's like Bones would pay for that,
What was your experience writing?
Writing like 500-word essays for 10th grade English class. I never went to college or anything. I was 19 or 20
so
at the time.
they go, who cannot write?
Yeah, I think
I know some people can't write.
I mean, many people aren't cut out to like write an article. You got to have some kind of like point of view or personality or
sure.
Just make it entertaining, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like storytelling, right? Which I'm like,
not everyone's going to do that, Brent. That's like...
Well,
I bet somebody
it's a rare thing that somebody could write.
I bet somebody could answer the question yes and not have any. Well, you didn't have much experience, but just all you have to do is just write words. It doesn't matter. You just say, oh yeah. Then he did the backslide, and then he did the 360 alley-oop or whatever. And
that's what I learned. I learned that no one really gave a shit what I wrote.
Yeah,
and it was super fun because after a few years, you start telling the story in the beginning. You're like, well, then we went to this spot and got kicked out by the cops, and then we went and everyone partied and got wasted, and you're just telling the same story every single time you go on a trip. And then I realized later, I was like, wait, no one reads this shit. No one cares what this is. So I started just writing outlandish shit. Like,
really?
Yeah, I just would make stuff up. And
what would you do? You come up with fake moves and stuff?
So going back to my Gossip Girl story from earlier, when one trip I went on, it was with DC Shoes. We went to Tokyo, and then we went to Barcelona, and we went to Dublin, Ireland. It was this like round the world thing. I think they bought me a round the world plane ticket, which is this thing. I don't know if it exists anymore, where you basically pay like $5,000, you can like stop a certain amount of times if you keep going in the same direction. Or I'm probably wrong about that, but it was some crazy thing where it was this round the world tour. I went on that, and it was when I was watching a lot of Gossip Girl. So on all these flights, I'm like, I have an iPod video, and I watched season 1 and 2 of Gossip Girl, and I was for whatever reason, I was just obsessed with it. I thought it was hilarious. I was stoked on it, and so I essentially wrote a Skateboard Mag article that was a fan fiction story about a character from Gossip Girl, and about how our whole tour was chasing this guy around Europe to party with him. And it was so stupid, like so stupid. But I just thought it was really funny. And we shot an opener photo for the article based on it or whatever, and it was based on a character in Gossip Girl, and they ran it. They never said no. I never, ever wrote anything that... Kevin Wilkins was my editor, and he never said no to me once. He just... Everything I wrote, he's kind of a subversive guy, I think, so he's kind of like, oh, this is funny, cool, we'll run it, and he was down, and... Cool part about that is I had a friend who was friends with some writers on the show, and I told her about it, and she got them some copies of the magazine. And I don't know to this day, I haven't confirmed, but about 8 months later, there was an episode where my name was in one of the Gossip Girl shows in season 3. They refer to one of the characters having slept with me. They talk about how she slept with Matt Price, and I was
No.
like, yeah, and I was like, I wonder if that was like a little, were they giving me a nod because I wrote that article and it got back. I don't know for
They
sure.
had to have.
You would think, but I don't have confirmation, so I can't say for sure. But I like to think that that happened.
Or they could have seen your name and they didn't really, know you, and it was sort of like, when you're writing a character's name.
Like it's in the back of your mind.
It's in the back of your mind,
Maybe,
and maybe
yeah.
it was a subconscious thing.
But
So-
let's just go with that they honored me and I was put into the show for my work.
Look, I think the point is
That's what I say, but I'm saying
I hope.
if someone offers you a writing
Never
job and you want to take it, and they say, "Can you write?" You just say yes, and you just write stuff.
You're like, I've written something
And
before.
maybe they'll fire you.
gotta
But
fake it till you make it.
yeah,
Well, it's just storytelling. It's like you, right? I don't know how to spell or like use punctuation or like put together a sentence right, but that's what editors are for.
Yeah, they'll figure
If you
that
just
out.
write a good story, and like I was talking to Tim Robinson about this about comedy writing because he was like,
he skateboards.
yeah, Tim's a skater. We skate a lot. He skates more than I do, but I was like, yeah, writing just seems intimidating because in my head it's like comedy writing is sitting down at a computer and like having to think of something funny. And he's like, no, you just like sit in a room with your friend and talk shit until something makes you laugh and then you just write it down. He's like, it's not. And I was like, wait, that sounds fun and easy and not terrifying because I don't know. It's the same kind of thing, right? It's like you just.
That's kind of what this show is. We just sit around until something funny makes us laugh.
Yeah.
There it is.
Makes us think. Makes me search something in.
Yeah.
Makes me like just.
I was gonna ask you, Doug, how many do you know? So Tim is a skater. Whitmer Thomas is. We skate a lot. Like, who else in comedy? Do you know any other comedy people that skate?
Andrew Michon.
Andrew Michon.
I've heard that. Yeah.
I feel like there's
This is Chris Fairbanks, of course.
Chris Fairbanks. Brent knows more than I do, even though I
See?
skate with all these guys.
You haven't gotten together with Chris Fairbanks yet?
I've skated with him, but
Right.
it's been, I think during the quarantine I skated with him once, but he's been traveling. And,
We skate Andrew Fitzgerald, who edits the I Think You Should Leave show, is a really good skater.
We know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's really good.
He was he was one of the skateboarders in Poundhouse in one of the episodes of Poundhouse.
He was, yeah.
His dick broke.
His dick broke. He was. I was
Yeah,
gonna say
that
he
was
was.
him.
I love that.
Neil Hamburger's pretty good. He skates vert.
That's not true.
I wish.
Bill Burr, people don't know this about him.
Bill
He
Burr
flies
skates with a-
helicopters, he plays drums, and he rips.
He skates with a cigar.
He has a whole vert ramp with 2 tombstones in his backyard. It's a bowl, too. It's like he recreated the animal chin ramp.
So Brent, what's a tombstone on a vert ramp?
I was gonna say, okay, tombstone. Let me think this through. A tombstone would be, obviously a tombstone is a kind of a board, it looks like almost like a boogie board. So maybe it is a diving board that is on the half pipe.
No, it goes to the
Or,
end.
no,
Pretty
or it goes in the
close.
middle. It goes in the middle.
Pretty
It
It's
goes
like
close,
an
Brent.
extension to a ramp. Like you go up and you have more ramp to do a trick on.
There's like an extension part that you're kind of on the you're
So
close you're kind of close on this.
It goes on the end of the ramp.
The top of
On
the ramp, you
top of the
put
ramp
another
is an
little
extra
extension.
board.
Yeah,
Is it does it look kind of like a tombstone?
they've made them like
it's
that.
like a vertical wall. That
Yeah,
And
just
what does it have? Pepperoni on it and cheese or what?
No, it's
I'm
still
kidding.
frozen. It's
It's frozen. Yeah,
I
it's,
think,
it's frozen because you need it to be hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you refer to tombstone as a boogie board though. That makes death sound so much more fun.
that'd be,
Well, it
that'd
looks
be
like
a cool
something-
tombstone to have just make it look like a boogie board.
Yeah.
yeah,
If you were into
exactly.
boogie, like,
Carve it out as
Well, that would be cool if a surfer kind of or a beach guy, a beach bum kind of guy, if he passes away,
Yeah.
and you can bury him using. Actually, what if you just use a real life boogie board as the tombstone?
you could.
It doesn't even look like a boogie board. It is one.
Yeah.
yeah, just do one, and then when it rots away with the sun, it's gone. Who cares? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
how long
we're
do you
all
need
gone
your?
too.
How long do you need people to walk by and be like, think about so and so lived at,
Well, maybe you can spray it. Maybe you can spray
at
it.
one time somebody lived.
100 years ago, they boogie boarded. Cool.
Right.
Well, maybe-
cool. Okay.
Maybe you can just spray it with a preservation thing, and it just
Yeah.
hardens there.
Brent, let me ask you this: are you a coffin guy, or are you more of a mausoleum dude, or are you like
I'm coughing.
You're coughing.
Oh yeah, I want to be in a coffin underground.
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
You're not like an ashes spread over the ocean. That's never
Nah.
sounded good to you or anywhere.
No, I'm not. Hey, I'm not a sort of take my ashes and make them into a pulp and then inject it into a baby's arm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine's. I'm gonna do.
I'm not that
I'm gonna be
either.
cremated, but I'm gonna be really cremated, not powdered. I want to be turned into cream.
How does that work?
It's gonna be liquid. It's gonna be a big vat of liquid.
Like molten lava?
Actually, I like the idea of
Like a
kind of
giant Vitamix for the human body that just kind of turns
What
into
about a
big
lotion? What if-
smoothie. I want to be smoothie.
What if you turn into lotion?
Smoothie,
Yeah.
lotion me.
A lotion.
Hand cream.
Wait, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be lotion-mated.
Lotion made.
Lotion meat.
Yeah, or lotion-mated. That's what I mean.
And then people can
Lotion.
use it for the.
They can use it for all kinds of things. They can jack off with it, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Imagine if they could jack off with you.
Well, if
They
you
could
had,
jam with you.
if you had a partner, right? If you had someone that you were in love with and you had sex with and
Yeah.
they died and you
Turn
could
them
turn them
into
into
cream.
lotion and then you could masturbate with them, that'd be kind of like an extension of
Yeah.
your
I
relationship,
guess it would be
right?
What
kind
if you
of
could
like
turn
neck-
a human body into lube?
I'm sure you could.
Take the oils out somehow and make lube out of it.
That would be
Lube-mated.
cool.
Lube-mated.
Jack off with grandpa's lube.
But then, wouldn't that be kind of like necrophilia?
Necrophilia.
I mean,
Not
No,
at
it's
all.
your hand. It's not necrophilia.
Not at all, sir.
right.
Your hand's alive, so
They're just helping you.
yeah. They're just making it a little easier for
Yeah.
you.
They're just telling you it's okay.
You probably have some you'd probably start crying at some point and then be like maybe sad. I don't know.
What are some new? Let's think of some new innovative ways to sort of do something with your body after it's,
Dispose
you're
of
dead.
the body.
Yeah. Okay. So there's lubricated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting lubricated. That's when they turn your
Yeah.
body into lubricant.
Uh huh.
But what else is there? What if you got stuffed?
I mean,
People do that.
I don't know why they don't allow
people
that.
have. No, hasn't someone?
Do they
What
do
if-
taxidermy for?
What if you got stuffed with radio technology and they put dead people into space like satellites? What if instead of satellites, there was a bunch of dead bodies floating around in space that were transmitting cell phone signals and stuff?
Well,
And it
here's my
was-
question. Why don't we? The human skin probably makes a nice leather. Make a couch, make a sofa, make a family heirloom.
I think someone already did that before. It's not a good scene.
Silence of the
It's
Lambs.
kind of like
thing?
that in
Didn't end up well.
not to spoil it, but in the new Borat movie, they kind of basically did that. Did you see that part?
You spoiled it for me.
Sorry.
Oh, I think I'm sure someone's gagged on that before. But look, we probably should wrap this main
Okay,
episode
let's
up.
wrap it.
But Matt, I don't know if we told you this, but we do a bonus episode for the Patreon members called After Dark. We hang out for a little bit more. Do you want to keep jamming?
Oh yeah.
Or if you got to leave, you're free to go. But
I think I have
it's
like
optional.
I have 4 more beers. I can stay till the beers are gone.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, thank you, listeners. And if you want to keep listening to our conversation with Matt Price, we're going to go deep. I have a few things written down. Somebody suggested I read the rules of football to Brent because they're like absurd. And then we'll go through those and we'll see what Brent thinks
Okay,
about
let's do that.
That's one idea. Probably go through that. Might talk about more skateboarding. Who knows? But if you want to keep listening, go to patreon.com/Poundcast. And we forgot to do a remix this week. That's all right.
oh.
No, we're out. We're out. Peace.
Well, okay, we didn't thank the crew, but
And we are back.
we didn't thank the crew though.
Oh. Okay, let's thank the crew. We're not out yet.
We're not out yet.
We would like to thank our Poundcast team.
Yeah.
Jackie Montana, Jack Birch, and Chloe Bonilla. They help us out. We couldn't produce the show without them. So thank you to them, and thank you to LouisvilleVeganFoods.com for sponsoring us, and thank you to Matt Price for being here. And we should plug you. Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in a new
Disoriented.
environment.
You're disoriented.
Yeah, we have
it's
our
okay.
ways of doing things, and we're all off today. But
That's all right.
so, yeah, would you like to plug anything? Your
Uh,
socials or anything? Or where they can find your work or anything?
CSS.
Yeah, CSS, the crime scene show. Is that what
CSI. That's your company. CSI.
Yeah, I work for CSI Miami, so watch
Okay.
that on whatever channel. No, CCS.com, I guess, is the thing I'll plug because that's who I work for. And that's go buy stuff from them because it helps me if you
And
skate.
yeah, it also I seriously recommend their products. I like what they do. I like their pants, and you'll see my commercial when soon. I hope.
Yeah, probably in August sometimes. We're waiting on a refill of pants to come in. We don't want to waste it. We wanna
I
make
made
sure
a
we have
really
a lot
good
to-
commercial. Well, I'm proud of it,
That's great.
and that'll be dropping on ccs.com. And that's about it. If you want to watch this, youtube.com/thepoundcast. And of course, patreon.com/poundcast.
All right.
And all right.
Now let's say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Doug and Brent. Talking to each other, Doug and Brent. What will they talk about today? Doug and Brent are talking to some pimples, Doug and Brent. We'll talk to their friends and Doug and Brent talking on